determine the correct approach for calculating the electrical load for parking lot lighting, you should refer to National Electrical Code Section 410.10b. This section of the NEC specifically addresses the requirements for parking lot lighting. When performing load calculations, several factors need to be considered to ensure accuracy and compliance with the NEC. Firstly, determine the total wattage of all lighting fixtures that will be installed in a parking lot. This information can typically be found on the lighting fixture specification sheet or product label. Secondly, consider any controlled devices, such as photocells or timers, that will be used to operate the parking lot lighting. These devices may have their own power consumption, which should be included in the overall load calculation. Thirdly, account for any voltage drop that may occur in the circuit feeding the parking lot lighting. Voltage drop can reduce the efficiency of the lighting system and may require the use of larger conductors to compensate. To calculate the voltage drop, use the appropriate formula provided in the NEC. Fourthly, ensure that the circuit breaker or overcurrent protection device is properly sized to handle the total load of the parking lot lighting. The NEC provides guidelines for determining the appropriate size of overcurrent protection devices based on the ampacity of the conductors and the type of load being served. Fifthly, verify that the wiring method used for the parking lot lighting is suitable for the environment in which it will be installed. The NEC specifies different wiring methods for various locations, such as wet, damp, or dry environments. Sixthly, consider the impact of any energy efficiency measures that may be implemented, such as the use of LED lighting or occupancy sensors. These measures can reduce the overall energy consumption of the parking lot lighting system and may affect the load calculation. Seventhly, consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure that your load calculations and installation comply with all applicable codes and regulations. They can provide valuable guidance and help you avoid costly mistakes. Eighthly, remember to keep accurate records of all load calculations, wiring diagrams, and equipment specifications. This documentation will be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Ninthly, regularly inspect the parking lot lighting system to identify any potential problems, such as damaged fixtures or loose connections. Addressing these issues promptly can prevent more serious problems from developing. Tenthly, be aware of any changes to the NEC or local electrical codes that may affect the requirements for parking lot lighting. Staying up to date on the latest codes and regulations is essential for ensuring compliance and safety. When you are working on the task, several important considerations must be factored in to ensure safety, compliance, and optimal performance. Firstly, understanding the specific requirements outlined in NEC Section 410.10b is paramount. This section provides detailed guidelines on the installation and maintenance of lighting systems in parking lots, including minimum lighting levels, fixture placement, and wiring methods. Secondly, accurately calculating the total load of the lighting system is crucial for proper circuit sizing and overcurrent protection. This involves determining the wattage of each fixture, accounting for any control devices, and factoring in voltage drop to ensure the system operates efficiently and safely. Thirdly, selecting the appropriate wiring method is essential for ensuring the long-term reliability of the lighting system. The NEC specifies different wiring methods for various environments such as wet, damp, or dry locations, and it is important to choose a wiring method that is suitable for the specific conditions of the parking lot. Fourthly, ensuring that the lighting fixtures are properly grounded is critical for preventing electrical shock hazards. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding electrical equipment, and it is important to follow these requirements carefully to ensure the safety of personnel and the public. Fifthly, regularly inspecting the lighting system for any signs of damage or deterioration is essential for maintaining its performance and safety. This includes checking for cracked or broken fixtures, loose connections, and corroded wiring. Sixthly, implementing energy-efficient lighting technologies, such as LED fixtures and occupancy sensors, can significantly reduce the energy consumption of the parking lot lighting system and lower operating costs. Seventhly, considering the impact of the lighting system on the surrounding environment is important for minimizing light pollution and protecting wildlife. This can involve using shielded fixtures that direct light downwards and avoiding over-illumination of the parking lot. Eighthly, consulting with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor can help ensure that the parking lot lighting system is designed and installed in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. Ninthly, documenting all aspects of the lighting system, including load calculations, wiring diagrams, and equipment specifications, is essential for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Tenthly, staying informed about any changes to the NEC or local electrical codes that may affect the requirements for parking lot lighting is important for ensuring ongoing compliance and safety. Furthermore, it is critical to consider the selection of appropriate lighting fixtures for the parking lot. The fixtures should be durable, weather-resistant, and designed to provide adequate illumination for the intended use of the area. LED fixtures are a popular choice due to their energy efficiency, long lifespan, and ability to provide high-quality light. It is also important to consider the color temperature of the light, as this can affect the visibility and safety of the parking lot. A color temperature of around 4000 to 5000 Kelvin is generally recommended for parking lot lighting. In addition to the lighting fixtures, it is also important to consider the placement of the fixtures to ensure that the parking lot is evenly illuminated and that there are no dark spots. The fixtures should be placed at a height that provides adequate illumination without creating glare. It is also important to consider the spacing between the fixtures to ensure that there is sufficient overlap in the light patterns. Another important consideration is the control of the lighting system. Photocells can be used to automatically turn the lights on at dusk and off at dawn, which can save energy and reduce operating costs. Occupancy sensors can also be used to turn the lights on only when there is activity in the parking lot, which can further reduce energy consumption. It is also important to consider the maintenance of the lighting system. Regular maintenance should be performed to ensure that the fixtures are clean and in good working order. Burned-out bulbs should be replaced promptly to maintain adequate illumination. The wiring and connections should also be inspected regularly to ensure that they are secure and free from corrosion. Furthermore, you need to consider the environmental impact of the lighting system. Light pollution can be a significant problem in urban areas, and it is important to take steps to minimize the amount of light that is emitted into the surrounding environment. This can be achieved by using shielded fixtures that direct light downwards and by avoiding over-illumination of the parking lot. It is also important to consider the impact of the lighting system on wildlife. Artificial light can disrupt the natural behavior of animals, and it is important to take steps to minimize the amount of light that is emitted into sensitive habitats. This can be achieved by using low-intensity lighting and by avoiding the use of blue light, which is particularly disruptive to wildlife. When undertaking electrical work in a commercial setting, it is essential to prioritize safety and adhere to established codes and regulations. In addition to the specific requirements outlined in NEC Section 410.10b for parking lot lighting, there are several other general safety considerations that should be taken into account. Firstly, always ensure that the power is turned off to the circuit before beginning any electrical work. This can be accomplished by using a circuit breaker or disconnecting switch. It is also important to verify that the power is off using a voltage tester before touching any wires or components. Secondly, wear appropriate personal protective equipment (PPE) when working with electricity. This includes safety glasses, gloves, and insulated footwear. PPE can help protect you from electrical shock, burns, and other injuries. Thirdly, use only tools and equipment that are in good working order and that are designed for the specific task at hand. Do not use damaged or worn-out tools, as they can increase the risk of accidents. Fourthly, be aware of your surroundings and avoid working in wet or damp conditions. Water can conduct electricity and increase the risk of electrical shock. Fifthly, follow all instructions and guidelines provided by the manufacturer of the equipment you are working with. This will help ensure that you are using the equipment safely and effectively. Sixthly, do not work on electrical equipment if you are tired or are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. These factors can impair your judgment and increase the risk of accidents. Seventhly, if you are not comfortable performing a particular electrical task, do not hesitate to ask for help from a qualified electrician. It is always better to be safe than sorry. Eighthly, when working with wiring, use proper splicing techniques and ensure that all connections are secure. Loose or improperly spliced connections can cause overheating and create a fire hazard. Ninthly, label all circuits and electrical panels clearly and accurately. This will help prevent confusion and ensure that the correct circuits are turned off when performing maintenance or repairs. Tenthly, regularly inspect electrical equipment for any signs of damage or deterioration. This includes checking for cracked or broken insulation, loose connections, and corroded wiring. Addressing these issues promptly can prevent more serious problems from developing. In addition to the above safety considerations, it is also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with working in a commercial environment. These hazards may include exposure to chemicals, dust, and noise, as well as the risk of falls and other injuries. Take appropriate precautions to protect yourself from these hazards, such as wearing a respirator, using fall protection equipment, and maintaining a clean and organized work area. By following these safety guidelines and adhering to established codes and regulations, you can help ensure that electrical work in a commercial setting is performed safely and effectively. Furthermore, when planning the installation of parking lot lighting, it's essential to conduct a thorough site assessment. This assessment should consider the following aspects. Firstly, the size and layout of the parking lot. This will help determine the number and placement of lighting fixtures needed to provide adequate illumination. Secondly, the existing infrastructure. This includes the location of existing electrical panels, conduits, and other utilities. Thirdly, the surrounding environment. This includes the presence of trees, buildings, and other obstructions that may affect the lighting design. Fourthly, the security requirements. This includes the need for security cameras, motion sensors, and other security devices. Fifthly, the aesthetic considerations. This includes the desire to create a visually appealing and welcoming environment. Once the site assessment is complete, you can begin to develop a lighting design. The lighting design should specify the type, number, placement, and control of the lighting fixtures. It should also specify the wiring method and the overcurrent protection devices. The lighting design should be reviewed and approved by a qualified electrical engineer or contractor before any work is started. During the installation of the parking lot lighting, it is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations. This includes the National Electrical Code (NEC) and any local electrical codes. The installation should be performed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with the requirements of these codes. After the installation is complete, the lighting system should be tested and inspected to ensure that it is working properly. This includes verifying that the lighting fixtures are providing adequate illumination and that the wiring and connections are secure. A testing and inspection should be performed by a qualified electrical inspector. Finally, it is important to maintain the parking lot lighting system on a regular basis. This includes replacing burned-out bulbs, cleaning the lighting fixtures, and inspecting the wiring and connections. Regular maintenance will help ensure that the lighting system continues to provide adequate illumination and that it operates safely and efficiently. When dealing with the specifics of load calculations, it's vital to understand the nuances involved in determining the electrical demand of parking lot lighting. Firstly, the NEC provides specific guidelines for calculating the load for different types of lighting fixtures. Section 220.14h addresses the load calculations for general illumination, while Section 220.3c covers the requirements for specific loads, such as electric vehicle charging equipment. Secondly, when calculating the load for parking lot lighting, it's important to consider the operating IOs of the lighting system. If the lighting system is designed to operate continuously, the load calculation should be based on the full wattage of the fixtures. However, if the lighting system is controlled by a timer or photocell, the load calculation can be reduced to reflect the actual operating IOs. Thirdly, the NEC allows for demand factors to be applied to the load calculation for certain types of lighting systems. Demand factors are multipliers that reduce the calculated load based on the assumption that not all of the lighting fixtures will be operating at their full wattage simultaneously. Fourthly, it's important to consider the voltage drop in the circuit feeding the parking lot lighting. Voltage drop can reduce the efficiency of the lighting system and may require the use of larger conductors to compensate. The NEC provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop and for selecting conductors that are sized appropriately. Fifthly, the overcurrent protection devices for the circuit feeding the parking lot lighting must be sized to protect the conductors and the lighting fixtures. The NEC provides guidelines for selecting overcurrent protection devices based on the ampacity of the conductors and the type of load being served. Sixthly, the wiring method used for the parking lot lighting must be suitable for the environment in which it will be installed. The NEC specifies different wiring methods for various locations, such as wet, damp, or dry environments. Seventhly, it's important to consider the energy efficiency of the lighting system when performing load calculations. The use of energy-efficient lighting fixtures, such as LED fixtures, can significantly reduce the overall load of the system and lower operating costs. Eighthly, the NEC requires that all lighting systems be grounded properly to prevent electrical shock hazards. The grounding system must be designed and installed in accordance with the requirements of the NEC. Ninthly, it's important to keep accurate records of all load calculations, wiring diagrams, and equipment specifications. This documentation will be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Tenthly, it's advisable to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure that your load calculations and installation comply with all applicable codes and regulations. They can provide valuable guidance and help you avoid costly mistakes.